This episode is presented to you by NFL Sunday Ticket, now on YouTube and YouTube TV. With NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube and YouTube TV, you can watch your favorite teams' out-of-market Sunday games, plus watch up to 4 games at once with Multiview. Don't miss the race to the playoffs. NFL Sunday Ticket is now just $39 when bundled with YouTube TV, where you get even more football. Visit youtube.com/Spotify offer to sign up now. Lowest price on YouTube TV with base plan. Rest of 2023 season. Terms and embargoes apply. No cancellations.
This episode is brought to you by Google Pixel, the official fan phone of the NBA and WNBA. The new Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro are built different. How? Take the Audio Magic Eraser tool that helps block out distracting crowd noise so your play-by-play commentary sounds crystal clear. The only phone engineered by Google brings out the audio you care about so your videos sound as crisp as they look. Learn more at googlestore.com/PixelNBA. Audio Magic Eraser requires Google Photos app. May not work on all audio elements.
'Tis the season to shine with H&M. Discover the holiday collection and find fashionable pieces for your wardrobe or for under the tree. Get inspired and dazzle with this year's glam. From tuxedo styles, bow detailed pieces, impressive prints, and more. From unforgettable looks to unforgettable gifts. With fashion finds to home decor, find it all at H&M. Treat your loved ones and yourself this season. Shop in-store or at hm.com.
This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Some things are just better together, like party playlists and Friday nights, campfires and ghost stories, peanut butter and chocolate. And Reese's Cups are the perfect combination of creamy peanut butter and delicious milk chocolate. So, when you want something sweet, you can't do better than Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Buy Reese's today wherever candy is sold.
Sipping back on empty can. I don't give a damn if it's 9 a.m. My football team's got me drinking.
We have another guest with us today.
Another guest?
I didn't say just another guest. I said
Okay.
another guest. I will introduce him as sporting Kansas City legend. We'll have his name up on a wall someday soon. They should already have the template ready to paint it if they don't already. Matt Besler, how are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Thank you for having me on. Did you expect that I was going to be on the podcast this morning when you woke up? Or I guess yesterday when I ran into you.
No. I had no clue.
Not at all.
We were honestly just hoping to grab people as they walked by, and like you went by, I'm like,
I know. It's nice to see familiar faces.
For sure.
I'm sure you saw a lot of familiar faces here at
the
convention, right?
Yeah, last night I was here for only 2 hours, and I left and my head was spinning. There's a lot of people here. The soccer world is very small, as everybody knows. But it was good. It's a great event.
We are a lot less well-known than you, and we are running into people all the time. So
there you go.
Hey, we could just imagine what it's like for you, yeah.
So anyway, welcome back to Kansas City, I guess.
Thank you.
I know you have a not new endeavor. It's something you've been doing for a few years, but you're wearing a sweatshirt, state soccer. Tell us about it.
Yeah, sure. We can start there. That's actually kind of.
Would you rather start somewhere else?
No, that's fine. That's fine. We can start
we'll
wherever.
let you lead, man.
No, it's a lifestyle soccer brand that we've created over the past couple of years, and going back probably 5 or 6 years ago, it was always an idea that we had, and me and Seth Sinovic, we grew up together. We roomed with each other a lot on the road, and so after games. When we couldn't sleep, nobody can sleep after games, win, loss, or draw. We would just talk about life and, what we wanted to do and, when we were done playing and various things. And we agreed that it'd be fun to start something together, a soccer company, and we weren't quite sure what it was going to look like. And through a couple of years of just kind of going down different paths, we settled on let's do lifestyle soccer. Specifically something to represent U.S. soccer, because we just felt like there was the market was missing that. And for me, what was really my selling point is that I feel like I can say this now because I'm retired. When you're done playing soccer, everybody's done playing soccer at some point in their life. but you still want to be like associated with the game. And so for me, like, I'm not going to go out and, necessarily play soccer every single day. Like, I'm going to go on runs. I'm going to go and play basketball. I like doing other things. I like, whatever physical activity you like, but I'm still a soccer player.
Right.
It's in my blood, and that's what's in my heart. And so when I go running, I would prefer to wear like soccer clothes. And right now it's like, but I also don't want to go and wear like a Arsenal jersey
right.
and like soccer game shorts to go run in the park.
Yeah.
And so we just felt like there was something missing. A lot of people our age, everyone wears Lululemon, and Lululemon's a great brand, nice clothes, but it has no meaning to me. It's a yoga company. So it's like, well, can we do something like that, but make it a soccer company?
There you go.
And give us the feeling of like, all right, I'm still a soccer player, even though I'm not actually playing soccer right now. I'm living it. I'm traveling in it. I'm working out in it, all that stuff.
I think that's a really, really great explanation. Have you been working on that, or is that just off the cuff?
No.
He's become a PR man now.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell one more story about the brand, and then we can move on if you want, or we can just talk about that. I don't really care. You may have heard the
you're
story.
Open to things. That's good.
The thing is, okay, I'll tell you this too. You guys will like this. I'm looking forward to talking to people like you a lot more, because so when you're playing, it's weird because you're so guarded, and not everybody is. Some people choose to like really open themselves up.
Benny.
For me, I kind of made the choice early on, especially in the environment that I was in at the time with Peter and the culture. You don't want to get on the wrong side of Peter, and you have to just be careful about what you say. And I'm really looking forward to not having that anymore, right. And maybe showing more of my personality and being able to actually answer questions and say how I feel instead of always having to say the right thing. So there's a time and place for that. But anyways, quick story that I think that you'll enjoy. When we had the concept of states, we had the idea, and we were like, all right, how do we make something? What are we going to make? And I remember we were sitting down in my basement. It was me, Seth, and two of our other partners, and we had some beers for sure. But what we did was, soccer, the tradition, exchanging jerseys.
Yeah.
And so I've got like a stash in my basement. It's a ridiculous amount. It's like 60 jerseys from all over the world, different brands, different countries. And so what we did was Seth and I, we threw all of our gear from over the years down on the ground, and we just we started going through them. And we held it up. We said, all right, what do you love about this? And it was a really cool exercise. I mean, for me, because it brought back so many memories. It was like, oh yeah, like I remember that game. That was the game, that I scored in or whatever the case was. Probably not scored in because I never scored, but
knock somebody on their ass.
Yeah, but it was really cool
yeah.
because we got to go through. It's like, oh, I love the way this fits. The material in the Italy jersey from 2014. Like, oh, let's try and do something like that. And we basically kind of took bits and pieces from all these jerseys that we wore, and we tried to put something good together. And yeah.
Well, that's how it's done. You take what you know or what you experience, and you make something new out of it.
Yeah.
Take that out.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's a cool story about how this has come about.
Yeah, totally.
How is the business going?
It's good. It's good. It's so it's been slow, which is that's expected. I think we're making forward progress every year, which is great. I think the thing for us is, we want to be particular about where we put our money and how it grows. We're not going to dump a bunch of money into this, and we're not going to just blast it on Instagram and social media and say, hey, look at us, we're a soccer brand. We want to be, like I said, particular about how it grows. I think we just want it to grow through the game. But that takes time. It takes time, and we'll see. I think over the next couple of years, we'll see if it can grow, if it can catch on. I know that we make a great product. It's just about getting it in front of more people and getting more money too.
Yeah, throwing out money and just throwing stuff on Instagram sounds like a recipe for failure. So I think you're doing it right.
Exactly.
Now they do have stuff on Instagram, and I've actually liked some of the way it's went about on Instagram. The shots, they're different. They're they're not the normal branding shots. So as a photographer, I look at things maybe differently than some other people. So they're interesting shots. They're done differently. Sometimes I like them, love them. Sometimes I don't.
Yep. But
that's okay. I mean, it gets my attention when I am looking through Instagram and finding them.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're happy with kind of the image of the brand, and we've actually spent $0 so far on any marketing, which is, I think.
So you're not going to hire me as a photographer then? Okay.
There's always a price for something.
All right, so are we ready to move on to something different? Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, so you seem to have a little trouble saying, I'm retired now. How does that feel? Is it where you wanted to be or expected to be? What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, so retired is a very scary and it's a very loose term. I would say transition is a better term. It feels weird when people come up to me and they say, "Congrats on retirement." And I actually had an old friend of mine that I grew up with. He's kind of a mentor, but he's a lot older than I am. He's like 65 or something, and he came up to me. He's like, "You retired before I did, and I can't believe it." And it's like, whoa. I retired from playing professional soccer.
Right.
So, but I mean, overall, it feels really good. Mentally, feels amazing just to be able to kind of move on and get away from the grind. You know, subconsciously, it's just like I didn't realize just how much stress and pressure that I put on myself because you just do it every day, and it becomes your norm. And then when you don't have it anymore, it's like, whoa, it's freeing. You know, it's like I don't have to worry about, you know, when I get up, the first thought is, the first step I take, it's like, okay, how am I feeling? You know, and if you don't feel okay, it's like, wait, why is my left ankle sore right now?
Right.
And what does that mean? Okay, it's 3 days out from the game. I should be fine. I'm going to get treatment today. I'm going to have to stay after practice. So what does that mean? I got to tell my wife that my left ankle hurts. So now I'm going to be back home later. And it's just like, I mean, you go pee, you know, you wake up and you take a piss. And what do you think
color
of?
is it?
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
It's like, wait,
I'm not drinking enough water.
Exactly. So before practice, all right, I've got to drink 3 bottles of water. And literally, like, I mean, I don't know if every player thought like this, but that's how I thought. And it was constant. It was throughout the day. It was like this countdown to the next game, and everything that you were doing was getting ready for the game. And when the game ended, it all started again.
Right,
so there was really no break. And I don't know. You just don't realize just like how powerful that is and how much it affects you until it's gone. And then once it's gone, it's like I said, I really have enjoyed, you know, I guess being released from some of those stresses, if that makes sense.
But how has the wife taken this? Oh God, he's going to be around more now.
Oh my gosh, that's been one of the biggest challenges. Seriously, like it's one of the things you take for granted is the schedule. It is just so structured, and you don't have to put any time or thought or effort into the schedule. Like on Sunday nights, our player administrator sends the players the schedule. Right. Says, this is the schedule for the week. You need to be here, here, and here at this time. We're leaving on Friday for a game. We'll be back at this time. For me, I forwarded that to my wife. And of course, I spent 5 seconds of mental energy into my schedule. And I said, this is my schedule. This is our schedule. Work around me. And that was it. And now I don't have that.
Yeah.
And so it's like the amount of time that people put into their schedule and communicating that and planning it, holy cow. It's like I don't have that skill. I'm not very good at it right now, and it's something that I need to get better at. And so, yeah, just the whole communication thing.
This is what it's like to be married. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I turn over to my wife. Like, there's a calendar that has her schedule, my schedule, daughter's schedule, like meetings.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if I'm going to be on a photo shoot or, you know, sporting games and, you know, all of that stuff. She doesn't put away games, though. That's the one fault. Like, I'll be, yeah, there's a sporting game tonight. She's like, there is?
Yeah. Her response so far would be, he's getting better. That's what she would say. Like, I'm getting better, which is that's fine with me.
There you go.
Just accept that you've strived for perfection in so many areas of your life. Just accept that will never be perfect.
Yeah.
Other than state soccer, do you have other things you plan on doing besides just learning how to not be stressed?
Yes, I do, but nothing concrete yet. It's an interesting time for me right now because my mind and body are telling me that this is normal off season. Yeah. I guess this would be the end of my off season because teams are starting to report. But before that, it was this is the norm. This is the time for me to decompress. This is what I've been doing for 13 years. This is my off season. So it honestly didn't really feel that different. Now, once preseason has started and once the games start rolling around and there's games on TV and I'm gonna have to potentially watch a game, that's gonna be different. That's gonna be more of a challenge, and we'll see. We'll see how I react. I don't know if it's gonna feel any different. But in terms of my plan, I'd like to take as much time as I can to just kind of work through the process of figuring out exactly how I want to spend my time and which direction I want to go. Because right now I'm fortunate because I do have a couple ideas, but I'm not sure exactly what I want to do and how much of it I want to do.
And you don't have to decide right away. That's the beauty of it.
Yes, I don't, which is great. But
there's always a but.
It doesn't feel right to be unemployed. I don't know. I don't want that to sound bad, but it feels uncomfortable to know that you're unemployed and currently we don't have our health insurance runs out. So there's just little things that just make you want to jump back into it.
Yeah.
I think it's a battle. I mean, it's a balance of taking some time off because you need to, but also fighting the urge to just jump back into something for the sake of jumping back into it. And so I think that's where I'm trying to be selective.
Well, I imagine you've had people reach out to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or have been more the interesting ones.
What's
if
that?
You can share more interesting people that have reached out with you, interesting ideas.
Oh, about jobs?
Yeah, or doing something.
I mean,
can you share any of those? Or?
The hard thing I think is going to be, I'm a planner. And so I like structure and I like to gather as much information as possible. And there's been a couple instances where, I'll go and have a lunch with somebody and who I respect a lot. They've got a great company and they'll say, come work for me. Come work for me. I don't care that you don't know anything about my business or the market or anything. I'll teach you. You're a great guy and you're competitive. And, I can't tell you what you're going to be doing, but just come on board and you'll learn. And so, for me, that's tough. That part of it's tough because there's just, so many unknowns, and I don't like unknowns. Mm-hmm. I've ran into a few of those, and I'll keep the door open until I figure out what exactly I'm going to do. But for now, I'm just kind of exploring and trying to enjoy the process as much as possible.
We had Ike on earlier, and obviously he's a new assistant coach for SKC2 with Benny. Obviously a very interesting pair and almost I really want to go watch those coaching sessions now. For him, he said he wasn't really sure what he wanted to do, and then he got the opportunity, and he's like, well, this is a perfect opportunity to just step into it and experiment as a coach.
Yeah.
Is there any of that you go, if I have this right opportunity, yes, I'd want to coach or be a scout or be a TV analyst or...
Coaching certainly interests me. I always felt like I thought about, coaching, and I thought like a coach maybe does. I can't really say because I've never been a coach, but I think...
You were a coach on the field, man. You're the captain of the team.
Okay, you said it. I didn't want to say it, but you said it.
Yeah. I guess I'm the straight man.
Yeah. Look, if you told me I just get to coach... Yeah, I'd be all in. I would love coaching. I love, the challenge. I love interacting, making people better, all those sorts of things. But there's a lot of other things that go along with coaching,
right?
Especially at the professional level. And the travel is I can't do that, at least right now. I've been doing it for so long, and I've made so many sacrifices my family has for me, and it's just, it wouldn't be right. I wouldn't feel comfortable saying, hey, I've been doing this. I've been telling you when I'm done, it's going to be different. And now I'm just going to jump back into coaching, and I'm going to be gone, 25 weekends a year, just like I was when I was playing. So that part scares me. I never say never because, I could be sitting here a year from now and be like, all right, I've had my time away from traveling. Like, I want to get back in. But yeah, that's just something like, coaching, yes, I'm interested, but like in what capacity? What does that mean commitment-wise?
Yeah, no, it's a difficult choice, I'm sure. And I mean, you got young kids and you haven't been there all the time, and it's your chance to see them grow up for a while, right?
Totally. And I am shocked that Ike took the job, honestly. And like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but Ike was always the guy in the locker room that made fun of soccer sometimes, or like made fun of people that took soccer too seriously. And,
okay.
I think that part of it was kind of an act, and that was kind of the role that he was playing of like, why are you guys watching soccer? Like, when I'm done playing, I'm never going to touch a soccer ball again. And sure enough, I mean, he's the first one that's back into soccer. It's amazing. I would have never guessed, but I'm so happy for him. I'm just happy that he's back in Kansas City. I think that, I don't know what he shared like on the podcast, but he's had a tough go. I mean, he's struggled with a lot of things health-wise over the last couple of years, but he's doing much better. I don't want to speak for himself, for himself, but the fact that he's back in Kansas City makes me really happy. I think he's gonna just thrive in the community again. And yeah, like I said, I'm curious, I'm interested, but I'm really excited for him.
Ike is one of those guys that was just always loved by the fans. I mean, Benny was always loved, you're always loved. So when people see you guys coming back into the community or coaching, I don't know if you pay attention to any of that stuff, but fans were just ecstatic when Benny started coaching, and then when Ike joined him, it was just like times two. So it's just a great thing for you guys to be back involved with team and Kansas City and stuff like that. So someday if you're back involved with sporting in some way, shape, or form, everybody will have that same reaction.
So let's turn serious for a little bit. So concussions. How is the league handling that well from your perspective? What is it like to go through that, have multiple concussions, things like that? What needs to change in that area, if anything?
Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a very, very large topic.
Sure.
I think we're still trying to figure out like what concussions are and what they mean, and so it's
kind of
hard.
Different for everybody too, though. Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, concussions, it seemed like just weren't around as much, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and I don't know if that's because people just didn't diagnose them.
Right.
Probably a little bit of that, but also, is today's game, is it faster? Is it stronger? Is it more impacts? More, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's tough to really say. There's so many variables. I think the league is certainly taking them seriously. I think they're doing everything they can to make sure it's as safe as possible, and they're trying to put protocols into place to protect the player and protect themselves. And so, I think the approach is right. But again, I think it's difficult because it's changing. The concussion world is just changing, so fast with information, and the more we find out and all that stuff. So it's really hard to predict, where we're at and where we're going to be at.
We were talking with the women's players a little bit about the CBA that they're working on. As far as the CBA goes, is there coverage for things like concussions and things like that? Sufficient coverage for players, or?
There's workers' compensation for all injuries, surgeries, or if you miss time, you can file a workers' comp claim, and concussions are included in that.
Sure.
And so, there's different levels of that. If it's career threatening, if it's career ending. Obviously, there's certain amounts. Concussions are I don't know this because I have yet to go through the workers' comp process, but I imagine concussions are very serious when it comes to workers' compensation and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I, in the years that I've been kind of covering MLS versus just being a fan, I think I've seen a big change in how it was treated. I've seen early years there was players that got knocked down in practice, and they definitely didn't look all there and got back up and just practice. fast forward a few. I'm not going to mention any specific center backs' names, but you fast forward a few years, and I see that happen now, and it's like, okay, you're going to step to the side. We're going to make sure that you're okay. We're going to do some tests on you before we let you back into practice. It's a big change. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some incidents where it doesn't always get caught, but it has been a big change from what I've seen. So you've been around that whole time that I've been there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I don't have all the answers, but
sure.
it's fascinating stuff, and one thing that I've kind of always thought about is the technology. Is that playing a role, or is that playing a factor? Because everyone talks about how much time we're on the cell phones, and we're staring at screens, and they're talking about how it like messes with like the chemicals and the dopamine and all that stuff. And I've always thought like, wait, is that playing a role? Because there's so many more concussions now, and it's like in the game more. Are the cell phone? I don't know. Is there any correlation at all? That's just me like throwing out a conspiracy theory, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, conspiracy theories are interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So are they doing it right at Austin FC?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It was impressive.
How was it to have a couple of former teammates be your coach?
Oh man, I loved it. I loved the experience. Again, just really impressed by Josh. As a head coach, I knew Josh as a player. I was pretty confident that he sees the game and he knows he's a smart player. But this was his first head coaching experience, and so to be able to, have an idea of how you want to play and be able to communicate that idea to 25 other men who come from different backgrounds and different languages, like that's a different challenge, and that takes skill, and it also takes repetition. And so that was probably the biggest question that I had. It was like, all right, how is Josh going to like talk to the team, and how is his messaging going to be? And it was really good, so clear. His ideas were just like on point. His ability to kind of explain things and make you want to believe in that were really good. So yeah, I think he's a super talented coach. I hope he continues to get the opportunities. I mean, I know when you're in MLS, you don't get much time. You don't get much time. So I hope they have a great year. I hope they can improve from where we finished last year, because I think Josh. I believe in Josh as a coach, and I think he deserves the opportunity.
Well, we talked about Ike and Benny and that dynamic.
Yeah.
What was the dynamic between Davey and Josh?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, like I loved it. It was great, man. It was so much fun for me. Like I went to practice, and it was just really fun to work with both of those guys, and I had a different perspective from anybody else on the team.
Sure.
And I actually didn't tell anybody that I had played with Josh and Davey before, because I didn't want.
Teammates didn't have Google.
I mean, yeah, everybody has Google, but I don't know. Like, why would you randomly search like Matt Besler? Did Matt Besler play with Josh Wolf?
Right,
It's like you either know that or you don't. But anyways, I didn't want that to like affect the culture or like the locker room of like, oh, like Josh and Davey talked to Matt differently. Like for the record, they didn't. They didn't treat me differently. But anyway, so I kind of like kept that a secret a little bit. Not that it needed to be a secret, but it was really cool for me because, like I view them both as coaches and as players. And so I was just enjoying it probably a lot more than anybody else. But it was great. Davey's doing well. Davey's a guy that was an absolute, he was a mentor to me when I was coming in. He did a great job just showing me what it was like to be a professional, and so yeah, it was really fun for me to reconnect with both of those guys.
So with those two in Austin, now Naga and Jimmy with Houston, maybe you and Seth end up taking over Dallas, and you guys would own Texas.
Man, why do you have to make it Dallas?
Really?
Well,
Houston's bad enough. I mean, come on.
None of us really like the Texas teams anyway, so
yeah.
They all didn't make the playoffs, huh?
Yeah.
Sorry, Austin. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, it was an expansion team. That
but
was
the
not
LA
expected.
teams didn't make it either, so that was even better.
No California, no Texas. That was odd, but
yeah.
Okay.
So who's a player for Austin FC that MLS needs to look out for? That's on the up and up, coming up.
I mean, so the DP that they signed, Sebastian Drusi, he's I mean, he's one of the best players that I've ever played with. He's from Argentina, and then he spent 4 years, I believe, in Europe, in Russia. And then he's a young guy, 25, 26. He reminds me a little bit of the Valeri mold, kind of a like hybrid midfielder, forward, really good instincts, can score goals, gets into the box. But yeah, he's the real deal. He has the right work ethic to make it in MLS. And so I think his game's going to translate really well. It was unfortunate because we didn't get him until halfway through the season. Right. And we also had a couple injuries. We signed a forward halfway through the season. But I think the last third of the season with both of those guys on the field, our team was different. So I'm excited to watch, from a neutral perspective this year again and see how they do. But yeah, he's the real deal. He's a really good player.
Do you get to root for two teams now?
I'm
I don't know. You're
know.
rooting for both teams.
I don't know. That's a tough question. Like I said, it's going to be interesting once the games. Am I even going to want to watch games? I just don't know.
Just SKC2 games, maybe.
Oh yeah, I'll watch one of those for sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can edit out anything that you want edited out.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and ask.
Yeah.
How was the relationship with Sporting? Was it left good?
Yeah, so yes, to answer your question, it's hard. It's a hard situation for both of us. And I think it's just unfortunate that we both had to go through it, Mm-hmm. The biggest thing for me is loyalty. I mean, loyalty is super important to me. And for 12 years, I wore the Sporting KC badge on my chest every day. I woke up every single day of my life for 12 years, and I walked out of the door and I said, I'm going to go represent this club, Sporting Kansas City, to the best of my ability. When people have an interaction with me, I want them to think highly of Sporting Kansas City. Right. And I took that very seriously, and loyalty to them, it meant everything to me. And, I think what made my experience so special was that they also took their loyalty towards me very seriously. And, contract extensions, raises, endorsement opportunities, helping me open the doors to a national team career. I mean, it was time and time again, they did an unbelievable job showing their loyalty to me. And so I think what happened over the 12 years was it was we would go back and forth, proving each other's loyalty to each other.
Right.
Great, you're going to be loyal to me, and all right, I'm going to stay. I'm not going to Europe. I'm staying here. You're going to give me another contract. Boom, I'll do this. And I mean, none of that was discussed, but it just happened. And I think what happened was it got to this point where our loyalty was so strong that, I mean, I just assumed that it was just going to be there forever, And so, and in the end, it's not, And that's what was so hard. It was so hard for me when I found out that I wasn't going to be able to continue being a Sporting Kansas City player. And, the other thing that I'll say too is I just remember I always heard this, and you guys will know what I'm going to say. At the end of the day, it's just a business. At the end of the day, it's a business. And of course, there's some truth to that. But what I believed, I said, no, not for me. Not for me, it isn't. This is not a business for me. This is a family, and this is my family. And so maybe it was arrogance and maybe me being naive, but I was telling myself that everybody else can say, oh, it's just a business. And it is, okay.
Yeah.
But not for me, because it's not a business for me. This is my family, this is my life, and this is who I am. Sporting Kansas City is who I am, and it's my identity. And so I think that, in a way I guess I expected to be treated differently at the end and it not be a business. And unfortunately for me, it was. I remember it's a weird feeling, you know. I drive into work, I drive into the facility one day, thinking that I'm gonna be a sporting player, and I'm gonna retire as a sporting player, and literally an hour later, I get back in my car and I'm driving home, and I'm not, you know. And so it was really hard, and it still is. I'm still dealing with it. It was very hard for myself and for my family to, I don't know, just to handle. And I'm going to need some help moving forward and still going through the healing process with all that stuff. But having said all that, I know I just rambled. I mean,
oh no,
gotta
get it out.
None of that takes away from just like the unbelievable experience that I had in 12 years. You know, it was magical. It was magical for myself, and I'm so lucky that I got to experience, you know, what I did, and I'm blessed. It's like I'm a hometown kid, and I got to play 12 years for my hometown team. You know,
and the thing is you made it a wonderful experience for so many others. You know, and that saw you as part of their soccer family too.
Yeah.
So we called you Captain Kansas City. I was campaigning for you to be the team captain before you were the team captain, because I saw that, like, I wanted you to be that guy, and I knew you could be that guy.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not even a native Kansas Cityan, but you embodied the Midwestern, the Kansas City, the clean cut of American kid that grows up to be the leader.
Yeah.
So for all of us, we saw that in you.
Yeah.
And so I know it's harder for you, but for so many fans, it was like a shock. Like, what?
Yeah. No, I think that's a great way to put it. You know, I was shocked, and but look, like, life doesn't always like work out. I mean, it rarely works out like the way that you want it to and the way you have it planned. So
we all know that.
Of course. I mean, I think everybody, myself, the fans, sporting, you know, the people that make decisions, I think everybody would have loved for me to retire as a sporting Kansas City player. But the reality of it is that just didn't happen. And it's unfortunate. It's a bummer, but life, I mean, that's life. You know, I'll be fine. Sporting will be fine. Everybody will be fine. I'm looking forward to getting over that, to healing. And look, I would love to be involved with sporting one day. I would love to help in any way I can to help out, to help grow the team, the brand, keep them competitive, whatever. And so, I'm open, and I would love to be involved at some point.
Well, two things. We're driving here this morning. Of course, there's the marquee with you on there, and, you know, everything. And that's going to be there forever. I don't know if they're ever going to change that, so you got that. But when Austin played here in Kansas City the first time, me and my friend went to the game, and, you know, we're driving home, and the sports car zooms by us, and it was in sporting colors, but just zooming by us on the highway. We're just like, what kind of car Matt Besler drives? Was that Matt that just zoomed by us on the way home after? I don't know.
No, Matt's got the big truck.
I do. I have a truck, and
okay.
I was probably on the team bus, or
I don't
know how that
probably
worked. I think I actually stayed. I don't even remember. One of the games was, I think they were both afternoon games. I can't remember, but one of them we had a quick turnaround midweek, so I had to fly back with the team. The other game we played, I did get to stay in Kansas City for an extra day or two and spend some time with my family.
Yeah.
Did your family didn't come down, or did they come down part-time?
Yeah, we moved down to Austin in February, so my whole family came down. At that time, I just had 2 girls, and we had our third kid down in Texas. So he was born in Austin in April.
What's his name?
His name's Miller.
Okay.
That's my wife's maiden name, and so we wanted to honor that. But he's
I want to make sure you didn't go with Austin. So.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. A lot of people do that, right? Like, doesn't Beckham? He like named a lot of his kids
Brooklyn,
and
yeah.
That was where he was conceived, though, right? So
I think so.
My daughter actually has a name from Ireland
because
my daughter has a name from Ireland because we were discussing baby names while we were in Ireland while my wife was pregnant, and we happened to be sitting in a spot. So we'll jokingly call her Shannon Claire because we're the River Shannon going into the County Clare.
Yeah.
That ended up her name. So
yeah. So are you guys looking forward to the season or what?
Yeah, of course.
Looking forward to every season, man.
It's good.
It's like
It's good.
always have some optimism, always have some worry. There's always,
yeah.
there would be something going wrong. There would be something going great. We have a new addition that came from Austin, Ben Sweat.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about him?
I'm excited for Ben. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the team. He's a great locker room guy, experienced, American, competitive, all those things. I think he really fits the Sporting Kansas City mold as a player. He is coming off of a serious injury that he suffered in our second game in Austin. But I will say, having seen him, the way that he attacked his rehab, the dude's a machine. I mean, I am so excited just to see him like unleashed because, sometimes like an injury like that could maybe be a blessing because, you don't have to go through like the wear and tear of a season and you can actually spend some time. It's like he literally looks like a machine. Like he's gained so much muscle. He's fast. He's strong. He looks incredible. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's doing great. Again, like I said, I'm excited to see how he fits into, Peter's plans, and we'll see. I hope he has a big year.
Have you followed all the moves Sporting has made?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
You never know, right?
Yeah, it's been so up and down. Polito out, and then
yeah.
The signings they've made seem to be good signings, young.
Yeah, I mean, I saw there was like a young German guy, right?
Yeah,
center back.
Yeah, that was the latest
Courtney
that I've
Ford
seen.
was signed as a free agent from
Yeah,
Colorado.
yeah, I think I've seen most of them then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a rumor of a Cypriot winger, but that's still an unofficial thing. So
nice. So
Yeah.
do I get to be a part of like all the rumors now and stuff? Like as a fan?
yeah,
Of course
Yeah.
you do.
Okay.
actually,
On the BlueTestament.com, is that what you're?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be a ghostwriter.
There you go.
you're welcome
Yeah.
to anytime. You're welcome to be on the pod anytime. Like just say,
Okay.
hey, I want to say something. Come on the pod. Yeah, but see, like players and coaches still, you could like find out rumors and feed them to us.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean by
Yeah.
ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Give
There
you
you
guys
go.
all the scoop.
So what would be your name if you were going to ghostwrite?
My name?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, you're putting me on the spot. I don't know. I can't answer that. Do you give yourself names, or do you like have to be given a name? How does that work?
Well,
It's like on the basketball court, like when you're hooping, playing pickup, like you're not
you're
allowed to
hooping.
give yourself a nickname.
Right.
Like it's someone else gives it to you, and you have to earn it.
Exactly.
So
No.
maybe that should be the case when you're writing blogs.
no, on our site, we actually do always try to maintain our real names so that we have accountability for when we say stupid shit.
Gotcha.
We do try to have accountability. Is that news
Yeah.
to you? Or
It's like when we get new writers, they might have actually been fans and just commenters before. I make them change to their real name because we want accountability.
Yeah.
We try to be. We're not always the greatest, but we try to be above board for the most part.
Hey, you guys do a great job. You always have, and I know that sometimes the relationship between player and media and whatever, it is what it is, as Peter would always say. But yeah, you guys, I've always appreciated, just the work that it takes. I don't think many people realize just like, yeah, you are fans, but also like you are working your butts off to provide information to the rest of the fan base to make their experience better. And it makes a difference. It makes a difference for everybody, and it helps the club. It helps the players too, because, it's we're trying to grow the game still and make it a big deal. So thank you.
There are
Thank
times
you.
you guys
Yeah.
don't appreciate us, but there was a quote that Vermees gave me one time, and he's like, "I want you to print exactly this." I printed exactly that. Next time I came by, I'm not going to say who, but some players like looked at me like, "I am pissed at you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "I didn't say it."
right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a weird dynamic, I'll
Yeah.
say. I mean, people are mad at the players, I'm sure, just like players sometimes get mad at media. I don't know.
Did you see the Kamara thing?
No.
We saw a tweet that Kai's house in Sierra Leone was having to be protected by police
Oh, no way.
because he missed a PK in the African
Oh, jeez. Man.
qualifiers or the group
Okay,
stage.
yeah, I've been following Sierra Leone in that African Cup,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, the African Cup of Nations.
jeez, that's wild. And his family's over with him, right?
Yeah, they should be with him at the game, which was in Cameroon, I think.
Okay.
So hopefully they're not there, but that would be his family home there. So
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully everything is okay and safe. And
yeah,
that's crazy.
We want fanatics here, but we don't want that. I mean, there's some line there that like, yes, I understand, like, a fan paid his ticket and can yell at a player, you suck or you screwed up or something like that. But at the same time, like, there's some humanity that still has to be preserved. You know what I mean? I've never been that guy who yells "you suck" at players, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a ref once or twice, but that's just crazy. So I'm sorry, I was rambling off on a side note there. I don't want to go down too many rabbit holes. Talking about relationship with players and media, I'm going to go back to something you said earlier about how you want to be much more open now because you can be. I remember there was like one quote that you gave that got taken way out of context by a lot of stuff. You know where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
About being fit for Sporting versus the national team because that's where you were at that moment.
Yeah.
And national media kind of blew it out of proportion. I was standing right there when you said it, and I'm like, I didn't quote it because I didn't want it to be taken out of context, but somebody else did.
Yeah.
Was that a moment that you, like, doubled down on being more guarded? Because I don't think you were as guarded before that moment.
That was the moment. That was the moment I made a decision, said, I got burned by this. Unfortunately, I'm going to learn my lesson and just try to be more conservative and smarter. And it's unfortunate that it happened, but I mean, I think you know me. I try to be as open as I can.
Yeah.
But in that instance, it hurt me in my career. You know, I did not get called into the Gold Cup team because of that quote. So that quote happened. It was the January camp of 2015, and I had been obviously played in the World Cup the year before and kind of been a regular. And then that quote happened, and you know I had a couple conversations with the federation and with Jurgen and all that stuff, and they decided not to bring me in. That was the 2015 Gold Cup that I missed out on. So I mean, whatever. It's all part of the experience of, you know, everybody has different experiences. That was one for me that wasn't great. But again, I mean, I think it's tough. Like, I think as a player, you almost have to make a decision, like, which way you want to go. Like, you can't get caught in between. Like, you either have to be all in and say whatever you want.
Benny.
Almost like Benny, but like, you know, Kevin Durant, I feel like in the NBA, he's kind of made that decision. Like, he's going to say whatever he wants. He's going to cuss, and he doesn't care. Or you got to be guarded. I think it's very rare to, like, Steph Curry's probably like the exception. He's been able to somehow just like be himself and really like feel comfortable and open up, and he does it in an elegant way, I think. You know, Patrick Mahomes, I would say, like 2 years ago, probably had that same like aura about him. Like, he was just you could just sense that he wasn't trying to answer things a certain way. And I think, you know, now he's probably started going the other way, maybe with whatever is going on. He's just like super famous now, and it's harder for him. But I mean, to answer your question, I don't even know what your question was, but I remember the quote, and I remember why I said it and how I said it, and I remember it unfortunately got taken out of context, and I paid the consequences a little bit there, but I mean, it happened.
That's one of those that I worried when it was said that it might get taken out of context, and I never printed it. So I know who did, and I mean, they're not wrong. You said it, so I mean, this is the way it went. But I've sometimes pulled back from doing exact quotes from players because I thought it might be taken wrong.
Yeah.
And almost every time I've been burned by it by somebody else who did the quote and got a lot more views.
Yeah. So, Matt, through our discussions here, I've gotten this idea in my mind that your second dream, maybe your first, was to be an NBA player.
Yeah.
Was that?
Big basketball guy.
Okay.
Yeah, grew up a huge basketball fan. Still am a really big fan, but I played a lot more basketball than I did soccer growing up.
Yeah.
Soccer's a very hard sport to play by yourself, and basketball's not. So, you know, a lot of times after dinner, I'd be on the driveway. We had a basketball hoop. I'd be playing basketball. You know, I will say that I actually wrote this in my book. I don't know if you ever read it or not. I wouldn't have been the soccer player I was without basketball. Basketball taught me so much just about spacing, especially defensively, like being able to guard somebody and also see the ball and kind of like the peripheral vision and it's funny because I started reflecting like on my career and who I was as a player, and it's like, oh my gosh, the things I did well directly translated to basketball. Like that's where I learned it. I learned it on the basketball court. It's like, oh, his positioning's great, or he's able to read, where the pass is going to go, or bait people in and intercept it. Like that was basketball.
Right.
That's exactly what I did in basketball. So I don't know. It was. Huge basketball fan, to answer your question. And no, I will not be entering my name into the NBA draft, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you could be part of an ownership group that brings an NBA team to Kansas City.
Yeah, if I win the lottery.
So who is another good basketball player on Sporting? Did you guys ever play pickup games together?
We played.
Or was that against your contract?
Yeah, it probably is now. It definitely wasn't back in the day. It definitely wasn't. We played quite a bit in the off season. There was at the time there was only a handful of guys that would stay back in Kansas City, so just kind of the regulars, Seth, me, Graham. Played with Ike a few times. We actually played over here. We're at the convention center now, but we actually played over at the college basketball experience over there. Yeah. So we went up there a few times. That's a great place if you've never been there. It's fun.
There was a before Swope was expanded. There was a couple basketball courts near the practice.
Oh yeah. You've heard the story there, right? No, one of them. Oh yeah, back in the day, yeah. So there was the basketball courts at Swope, where we used to train, and it was Michael Harrington and Kurt Morsink. And oh my gosh, for weeks, it was probably around March Madness, everybody's talking about college basketball. We're doing the locker room pool. And I mean, they're going back and forth. Oh, I beat you so bad. No, you can't even shoot. Finally, we got to the point where we're sick of hearing this banter back and forth. We're going out to play. You guys both put $100 on the line. And so after practice one day, we all went out to the courts. I feel like it was part of a movie or something, and we're all lined the courts, and we're taking bets and we're cheering on, and I'm telling you, it was the worst basketball game I've ever seen. The worst. I think they were trying to play to first one to 11, and sometimes on the outdoor courts,
2 hours later,
at Swope, the rims are bouncier and it's tough. The backboards are aluminum, all that stuff, and it was exactly 2 hours. Guys are looking at their clocks all right, I got to be home for dinner.
Right.
This game, it was an embarrassment. I don't even remember who won. I feel like we just called it a tie and everybody just left. And
I think everybody lost that day.
Yes, exactly.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing a couple players out there playing after practice one day. So
yeah, that might have been it. But yeah. There's some okay. Yeah, there's some pretty good basketball players.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you said basketball helped you be a better soccer player. I think that's one of the things that kids don't do as much today is cross-pollinate the different sports. They focus on soccer or they focus on basketball once they get to 10 years old.
This is a whole topic for another full podcast.
Yeah, we don't want to keep you too much longer.
I'm just hanging out, I'm either up on the floor mingling with a ton of people or down here with you guys, but no, I think it's interesting because it's a tough argument either way. The kids now that are coming through are better soccer players, than I was. When I was 15 or 16, if you compare, those kids are way better than I was. Technically, tactically, they can do stuff with the ball, the way that they play, but what's the trade-off,
Right.
In order to get that good at such a young age, what are you giving up? You've got to give up all the other experiences because you got to play soccer 5 days a week in order to get that good. And so when you do that, like I said, what's the trade-off? Do you trade off social experiences, other sports, you name it. There's a ton of things that you have to give up. And, does that ever catch up to you?
Yes.
So that, when you do
yes,
turn 20 or 21 and you say, all right, I made it to this level. Now I need to go back and lean on some of these things that I learned, the perseverance or the social skills, how to interact with a coach who maybe doesn't like you or whatever the case is. And, unfortunately, I don't know if the kids have it. I don't think, we've yet to figure out the right recipe, I guess.
There may not be one right way, though, right?
No, there isn't.
Some kids will benefit this way, some kids will benefit that way, but the problem is knowing which way is the best for that kid, I guess.
Yeah, Yeah, it's the $1 million question. We just don't know, and we haven't had enough time to kind of see where this path is leading us. Like in the next 5 to 10 years, we've got some unbelievable talent and young players like coming through the system, and I guess we'll see. We'll see, how they develop and if they can kind of take the lead, and hopefully they do. I mean, the talent's off the charts. Like when I look at some of these kids, it's incredible like how good they are at such a young age. But
No, it's interesting that you said that about, not dealing with a coach who doesn't like them. Because I taught high school for 25 years, and I ran into some of that where, they couldn't handle a teacher that supposedly didn't like them. And that's not what it was, but it's that fact that they weren't succeeding in that class perhaps. And that's why I really liked coaching, because I coach soccer too, because you can see the kids on a different level, meet with them at a different level, and just develop a different relationship.
I mean, so I've got two things, and then we can cut this off. But the two things that I'll say to that is, I completely agree with you. Like one of the benefits from playing other sports is that you're going to have a different role on all the different teams you're on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're a good soccer player, most likely on your soccer team, you're going to be one of the best players. You know, and so you're going to have that role, that leadership role. Like, I'm the best player, give me the ball type thing. If you go over and play basketball, I mean, unless you're good at everything, you're going to have a different role on the basketball team than you do on the soccer team. Or you're going to go and play baseball, and maybe you suck at baseball, and you're going to have to learn what it's like to be one of the worst players. And all that stuff is great for development. It's great for development. And then the second point, too, is the whole college thing. So what I love about college is what happens is it's 4 years. Okay, so a college player comes in as a freshman. Okay, what are you? You're the lowest on the totem pole as a freshman. You've got to do all the freshman duties. You've got to pick up. You get yelled at. You're at the bottom, and so that experience, affects you, and you learn things from those experiences. Well, then sophomore year you make the jump up, and junior year you make the jump up, and by senior year, what are you by senior? Most of the seniors are captains, are leaders.
Yeah.
So you get that experience. So in 4 short years, you get this like huge spectrum of, I was a freshman, I was at the bottom, and now I'm a senior and I'm a leader. And so like for me, when I see guys that come in that played college soccer, most of them have been captains their senior year, but they were also at the bottom their freshman year. And just like the difference that they're able to, get through things and react and interact with teammates and other people, coaches, all that stuff, there's a huge difference in that.
Sure.
They're going to be also just much more mature in so many ways, right? I mean, because of what they've experienced being a little bit older, but that experience that they got, they'll be more mature as a teammate.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, I guess that's what I'm describing, that it's maturity.
Yeah.
It's going through those 4 years in different, segments, and that's what maturity is,
So do your kids play? So are you experiencing any of that at all with them?
They haven't yet. So we were gonna. So I have a 5-year-old girl, a 3-year-old girl, and an 8-month-old boy.
Okay. I don't remember how old your oldest was yet. So,
my 5-year-old is starting kindergarten next year. She has interest, but we moved down to Texas, and we just didn't know. We didn't know anybody, and there was a lot like. You're taking your kids out of school and neighborhood, all that stuff. So you're like, let's just hold off. It's not going to make or break, whatever. Now that we're back in Kansas City full time, we're going to start her in the spring, and I'm coaching.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I am coaching.
Yes.
Like we're bringing this full circle.
You are coaching.
I can't make fun of Ike for jumping back in because I'm just jumping back in too. I'm coaching. 5-year-old girls.
Might be a slightly different level, but it's...
Oh, no. It's all the same.
Are you going to take it seriously
soccer.
and run
Football
them,
is football.
I'm
4-3-3,
clipboard, like watching video. I'm going to suit up on the sidelines for the games.
You're going to have the big camera over top for every game so you can break it down and analyze afterwards.
Drone. We're going to wear the sports bras everybody likes to wear for the
GPS.
GPS.
Oh, Lord. Look out. Matt Besler on the loose.
Yeah, no.
He's got freedom, and he's just gonna go. Yeah.
Honestly, I do see you as a coach someday. But
You know what I'm gonna do once I start that? I'm gonna just send so many pictures to Ike and Benny from me, like selfies on the sideline of me coaching.
Orange slices.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right.
Juice boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, hey, been great.
Yep.
We appreciate you.
Thanks for all
coming
this
by.
time, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, and we're glad you're back in Kansas City, even though you had to leave for a year, but. that's another story. But we're glad you're back in Kansas City.
Thank you. Me too.
You're welcome back on the pod at any time. I will probably wait a little while, and I'll message you like, hey, come back on, man.
Okay.
And you can give us an update on anything you want to. So.
Yep.
And put out an article, and we'll get back to you. See what we think.
Oh yeah, Ghost Rider. Yeah, you guys better watch out.
Yeah. See, I was gonna let you have a ghost name, not everybody
See,
else.
the reason I didn't tell you my ghost name is so
Exactly.
you don't know.
Clever man.
So watch out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt Besler. Appreciate it.
All right. See you guys.
Saturday and the game is on. 10 minutes in, it's 3-2 none. I'm tipping back an empty can. I don't give a damn if it's 9 a.m. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. The other side don't seem so tough, and 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.